Dip, a 15-year-old boy, sat on the riverbank in his small village, frustration written all over his face. As he skipped stones, he couldn't shake the feeling of envy towards those who seemed to have more. "Why is life so unfair?" he muttered to himself, thinking of gold and wealth. Despite his family's efforts, they struggled. Just as despair began to consume him, an old monk appeared nearby, his orange robes glowing under the sunlight, bringing with him a calming presence. The monk approached Dip with a kind smile, sensing the boy's troubled heart. He sat beside him on the soft grass, their surroundings vibrant with life. "You seem burdened, young one," the monk said, his voice steady and comforting. Dip hesitated before pouring out his frustrations about life's inequalities. The monk listened patiently, then said, "Let me tell you a story. It may help you see things in a different light." Curiosity flickered in Dip's eyes as he leaned closer. A wealthy man, carrying a sack of gold, once met a humble farmer holding a handful of soil, the monk began, his voice painting the scene vividly. The farmer said, "My soil is worth more than your gold." Hearing this, Dip frowned, his confusion evident. "How can soil be more valuable than gold?" he questioned. The monk smiled knowingly, his eyes sparkling with wisdom. "Let me explain," he replied, ready to impart the deeper meaning behind the farmer's words. The monk continued, "The farmer told the rich man, 'With this soil, I can grow food to sustain my family and others. What can your gold do?' The rich man laughed, dismissing the farmer's words. But when a drought came and crops failed, the gold became useless. The rich man found himself begging the farmer for food. "The soil saved my life," the rich man admitted, realizing its true value. Dip's curiosity deepened as the story unfolded, making him think about life's priorities. Dip picked up a handful of soil, examining its texture and smell. "But gold shines and is so valuable. How can this soil be more important?" he asked, still puzzled. The monk replied, "Gold may glitter, but it is lifeless. This soil, though humble, gives life to everything you see around us. Without it, there would be no food, no homes, no life itself." Dip sat in silence, his mind racing as he began to grasp the profound wisdom hidden in the monk's simple words. The monk picked up a handful of soil, letting it slip gently through his fingers. "Feel its weight, its texture," he said. "This soil nurtures the crops that feed us, builds the clay that makes our homes, and holds the roots of the trees that give us shade and air. Gold cannot do any of this. Life springs from the soil, not from wealth." Dip watched the soil fall, each grain carrying the promise of life, and he began to understand the monk's profound words in a new light. The monk gestured toward the village bustling with life. "Look around, Dip. Every smile you see, every meal cooked, every house standing, everything starts with the soil," he said. "Your family's work with the soil sustains this entire community. Isn't that worth more than gold?" Dip looked around, his heart swelling with pride and gratitude. He realized that his family's humble efforts were the foundation of so much life and happiness around him. Walking along the riverbank, Dip felt a new sense of calm. "I used to feel ashamed of my family's work," he admitted. The monk smiled, "There is no shame in nurturing life. Many seek treasures that fade, but you are connected to something eternal, the earth itself." Dip's steps felt lighter, and his heart began to embrace the wisdom the monk shared. Each step on the soil now felt sacred, carrying new meaning. Beneath the shade of a great banyan tree, the monk turned to Dip and said, "Gold may glitter, but its value is temporary. Soil, humble and overlooked, carries the power of creation itself. It is the root of life's treasures." Dip nodded, his gaze steady with understanding. The monk's words were like seeds, planting new thoughts in his heart. He promised to honor the soil and the lessons he had learned today. Dip stood in the rice fields, his hands muddy but his heart full. The soil, once ordinary, now felt sacred beneath his feet. Every grain of rice his family harvested carried the essence of life, of their hard work and nature's gifts. He smiled, no longer burdened.